This is V from a Canadian RV, right? I guess what you're looking at right now, if you have one of these big boys in your coach, you're probably thinking, well, if I'm not going to use it this winter, I better start thinking of how to winterize it. And I had the challenge about the last 2 winters that we were not using our coach during the winter, and we had to winterize it. So I came up with a pretty neat process. So the first thing I start with is, of course, I always buy myself a brand new filter, and that's what the filter looks like. And I'll show you inside the fridge where the filter goes, of course. And it's right up in this corner here. Really simple to change. It's right up in there. And what you do is you just press down, it pops out. You take your new one, you pop it in, and that's what your filter does. Now, here's the challenge. Because you don't want to put any plumber's antifreeze or any glycol into the water and ice system that we have on our fridge. You want to keep that pretty clean. So the only way to actually do this is by using air, and there's a process that I use to do that. Let me show you what I made up to actually do the pressurizing of the lines, and to be able to control them at a decent pressure and not hurt any of the lines or cause anything to crack. Let me show you the thing I made. Now, the other 2 major pieces you're going to need to actually blow the lines out is I purchased a Viair RV pump, which takes it up to 150 pounds PSI. It's a great little pump. It does a great job, but the problem when you're trying to do your blowing of the lines out, the pressure is way too high on that and could cause some damage. So what I've made up is I've gone to Princess Auto, and I've made up a little hose here, and at one end, of course, I've got a pressure regulator. So that part right there plugs into my Viair extender, and this other end, as you see it going around, this end right here has the same hose connection as you would buy with a hose for your RV. So this is the 2 pieces, and then what you can do also with this regulator is you can turn the pressure to whatever you want it to be. Of course, now there's no pressure on it, so it's not registering anything. But the nice thing about it is, of course, you're going from 150 psi on the Viair compressor down to, I put in about 35-40 pounds, which is quite safe for any of the lines. So give me a second and I'll show you where we connect this part right here. Here we are at my water bay, and usually what you do is, of course, you would put it on where it says city water fill. You would hook it up right here and put it in there, and then of course start your compressor. You've already set the pressure on the gauge that what you want it for, and that's why you can leave the compressor running. Of course, it'll shut down when it gets up to 150 psi, and you'll always have air in the lines to blow it out. Now, let me show you also on the other part where the fridge picks up its water and what I've done there. Where my fridge gets its water from, and what I've done to actually make this a little better. You see, I put in a shark bite valve right there where the 1/4-inch plastic hooks up to, and this is of course my cold water line that comes in for the fridge. The one that Georgetown or Forest River put on there was this piece of plastic that you'd pull the top to turn it on and off, and again, this is where the slide out is and all the other control wiring and everything else. So I did remove the cover that was there and actually put in my own piece of wood, built out the pipe, and that's where I pick it up. So by turning it on and off right there, I can control the water to my fridge. Here we are now in front of the fridge again. We've got, of course, our Viair compressor running. We've got our pressure regulator for the air on there. And then what I would do is I would come in here and put a glass underneath of this, of course, and you know, you would fill 2 or 3 glasses, because what you want to do is you want to blow out the ice system and the water system. So what I've always done there is, of course, the ice system being inside the fridge. When it's usually cold, nothing will freeze, the lines can take it, of course. But the water system and coming up through the floor and into the back of the fridge, you do want to clear that out. So you want to keep running your glasses of water through until nothing but air is actually blowing through that. Then what you're going to do is, of course, you would then take out your filter, which is way up in that corner, and you would leave it out for the winter if you want. Of course, you'll put your new filter back in. You can put it back in now, but there's really no reason for it because there's no water transfer through that filter, so there's nothing more that'll come up into the lines. And the valve that I showed you when I was down below in one of the bays, you're going to turn that valve off, all right? Because you don't want any more plumber's antifreeze. So say, for example, you blow out all your taps, all your lines, and then just to be safe, you want to put in some plumber's antifreeze. Well, you would turn off that valve and then not allowing any kind of the pink fluid to come up here. And now in the spring, what you do is you would take the cap right off, take the pipe off, and then just let it run with just clear water in it. And so that's how basically I used to do my winterization with my residential fridge, and it was quite a challenge the first time. You had to get it right, and I didn't want any problems or damages. And of course, the information from Forest River wasn't great then again, because they just started putting these fridges in. Anyway, this is V from a Canadian RVer, and I hope this helps.